Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our next in the series of Q&As. We've been putting a couple different staff members and leaders around Element in the hot seat, helping you get to know who are the faces that you see around Element or the faces you've been seeing on your screen the past few months. And this afternoon, I'm so excited to sit down with our various band leaders. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Are you so scared?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Well, okay. I figured we'd kick things off. Look I've got cue cards.
Oh, no.
I'm such a professional.
You're ready.
All right. We should kick things off with introductions since not everybody might be familiar. And so I'm going to ask who you are and how long you've been at Element. And I figured it would be most appropriate for Shawn Jones to start since he was kind of our first band leader.
Oh, no. Now
And
I'm
then
scared.
we'll end it on Mark Pruitt since he's our most recent band leader. Oh.
T-shirts though.
Smart.
Ginger.
Yeah, John still wears it. Okay,
That's true.
talk to the people. Who are
All
you?
right. Hello. I am Shawn Jones. I have been around Element since day one. Back in the bring your own chair, propane heater in the corner of the building days.
Propane heater.
Propane heater. What did I
Got
say?
No? Propane.
Propane. And yeah, a little. I'm just doing name and a little about myself. Or
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Well, we
But
made.
Shawn did leave in the middle of it. He went
I
to
did.
school.
Yes, I did go to school.
dare you.
That's a little bit about myself. I went to school. Educated individual.
Well done.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a great way to earn a BS in computer science in Santa Maria, so I had to leave to go do that. And that's done, and then been back since then, and here I am.
We're happy to have you back. Mostly because your wife came back with you.
That's fair. I accept that.
All right, this one. Who are you?
I've been in so many of these. You don't have to do this with me at all. I've been here since the beginning.
Okay,
Mostly.
next.
So I guess that's me. My name is Michelle G. So it's funny. I was kind of drifting in and out in those early days because I was going to school, doing college in Santa Barbara. So that's not too far. So I would come home and then occasionally like pull up my beach chair and then peace out and go back to school. But I moved back permanently in December of 2010. So I've been back ever since then.
Yay.
But talking about this guy named John the entire time, it was so annoying.
All right, Jason.
Glad that worked out for you.
Yeah, it worked out nicely. John's my husband, by the way.
Yeah. I'm Jason Hilton, and happy anniversary, by the way, have been at Element for exactly 5 years. This week, I was the week after, I think it was the Sunday before or after the 4th of July. And that's this week. So
Wow.
in 2015.
Anniversary.
So-
Yay.
Did we do good songs that week or?
Yes.
For the entire set list.
I don't remember the first week. I remember being very impressed by the band and being very intimidated, like they'll never let me play there. They'll never ever let me play there. It was like 2 weeks later. I don't know.
Hey, so could you play a lot more often?
I remember my second week, there was some kind of Ramones cover song that happened. After the service. After
Is
the
that want to be
service.
sedated at the very end?
That was just when we were goofing around. We didn't do it during service.
It was
It was
after the service.
an
Yes,
outro.
It was an outro. I will say, the Ramones are not in
And he's
our
been hooked.
musical.
Since.
Well, they are, but they are.
Lineup.
But okay.
All right.
right.
And Mark.
I'm Mark Pruitt of the recent Pruitt invasion. I've actually been here since the beginning.
You were the original Element
You
Pruitt.
are, yeah.
Yeah, I'm from, I wasn't actually at Element in the very early days. I was very active with the worship team at another church and was kind of burned out when Element was starting. And I took a solid year off
gap
at least, maybe
Gap
two.
year.
But it's more like every Christmas. Hey, Mark, what are you doing?
Yeah, I have been involved in every single Christmas service since 2004.
Yeah, I think
minus
since the original.
minus
Yeah,
maybe
right.
one. That was part of my job at First Christian Church, was arranging music for Christmas services and doing like special. What do you call it when you write the music down? Composition.
Composition.
Right?
Whatever.
That's
Like, hey, we
why
need a violin
we're
part.
band
What's
leaders.
the violin part? You know, I would do that kind of thing. But yeah, and so yeah, I was kind of sporadic, and recently moved back to Santa Maria from San Luis Obispo, and now I am getting much more involved. I'm working much more with the music department now here at Element.
We have a department.
Yay.
Oh, dang.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
there's
Technically.
like more. There's like 5 people on stage right now.
I know.
Yeah.
6 people.
This isn't even the whole band. This is just the band leaders.
Although we could
'Kay.
we could make up a band because we at least have a drummer.
That's true.
We could all
I could
combine,
for
yeah.
sure
absolutely
watch.
We do fine.
All right.
All right.
Whoa.
Next.
First question.
Sassy coming up.
Brenda Teixeira had one that I really enjoyed. It was, how old were you when you first knew you loved music? I'm going to kick this off to Mark to start us off because I feel like he loved music the second he was born.
I don't know. I have really bad like memory gaps in like my like childhood.
You mean like when you have to write music stuff down?
Sure.
Composition?
This isn't a roast.
Yeah, I have. My earliest recollection is just when I started banging on my, living room piano. I don't know how old I was. I know I went into lessons at about 8, and hated them, and didn't really get like really into music probably. And I think had an affinity for it, but I didn't really get into it until I was a teenager and I was getting involved in the worship team at my dad's church. The first time that there was an opening on stage, I picked up the instrument that was needed and just went for it, and always was involved in that ever since.
Nice. Jason?
Oh man, love of music. I would say it goes back to the grunge era. I would say because being born in the 80s and growing up in the 90s, music changed a lot. And I would say and this is going to sound weird because I was like 8 at the time, when Smells Like Teen Spirit hit the radio, I was like, this is so amazing and raw. I was like, this is it for me. Like, I love real raw rock and roll music. It blew me away. And I mean, I didn't really even appreciate it as much as I do until I started playing, but that wasn't until I was about 20.
Oh.
We've got a whole grunge fan base here.
Mhm.
Michelle's into like, I don't know, Smashing Pumpkins or something really weird like that.
You guys, I secretly
We got
want to start an
Nirvana here,
all-girl
and
Pearl Jam
I'm
cover
all Pearl
band
Jam.
called Girl Jam.
Girl Jam.
Girl Jam.
Like, you can apply.
All right.
Do they have a tambourine player?
I have no one but me right now.
Okay. Well, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, don't let her play it though because she can't keep rhythm. But
Sass me to
am just.
Didn't we say this isn't a roast?
Listen.
I want to be in it though.
I clap on beat.
You can be
You do.
the hype man.
Thank you.
do. Man.
Sean Jones.
I can
said
sample
Not
you
everybody
hitting the
can.
tambourine, and then it'll be
There
on
we
time.
go.
There we go.
And you can say you did it.
Mhm.
All right, Michelle.
Oh man, that is a hard question. My earliest memories are actually in dance. I had a dance background up until like my teenage years, so I thought that was a good introduction to music.
Me too.
Shut up.
I'm totally kidding.
But my house was we were always playing music growing up. So I have a huge classic rock and blues influence. Like Jason, I feel like the whole alternative scene of the 90s really resonated with me in a powerful way. So yeah, I started playing guitar when I was 12. I still have the guitar. It's this little mini classical. I don't know why my parents bought me a classical guitar, but it's really cute.
I see where I went wrong in the 90s then. So when I went the Britney Spears
Yeah.
route,
Yeah.
Hard left.
You-
and
It's a
Ah.
different end of the
None
90s.
of these people have been listening along with you.
yeah, I know. I had to introduce Sean Jones to Toxic.
I don't even know what that is.
Sean
It's a
Jones.
very good song. I'll give you that.
It is. What I remember the first cassette tape that I got was the Beach Boys that my parents got
that
for
is
me.
a good
know which
Wow.
one?
Yeah.
No, I don't know which one, but it was. I think it was like a compilation, like hits one, because I knew all the
Brian
popular
Wilson,
ones.
man.
That was the first tape that I remember, and I had like my little boombox, and I remember being like, "Yeah, this is it. This is awesome." And then from there, it was like more rock stuff, POD, and Foo Fighters, and that sort of stuff.
Sorry, what
Yeah.
band was that?
And then, the band called Foo Fighters.
Oh,
I don't know if
POD.
you.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then I started playing music when I was 13. I remember wanted to learn how to play guitar like in 6th grade, and then I was able to pick it up in like 7th or 8th grade. And I just remember the transition from doing well in school to playing rock and roll, kind of. Which
kids don't listen to this part.
yeah, which I now live next door to my advanced math teacher that I dropped out of. which I was very proud to say, don't worry, I went on to get a BS in computer science, so it's okay. I came back around.
There's hope. There's hope.
Found your way.
Yes.
I love it.
I don't know. I always liked music, but I think when I was in 6th grade, my mom made me take piano lessons. I took them for like 6 months and was totally bored. And then when I was in high school, it's like, I want to learn how to play the guitar. But I didn't really learn how to play the guitar until I was like 16, 17. First song I learned, Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions.
Dun,
But no chords, just single strings.
Yeah.
The solo.
Dun, 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 dun. That was it. And I had this guitar. It was just piece of junk Hondo. And I was, hey, it's in the 80s, right? So I'm like, oh, man, they're all, what? And they throw them around their necks. I'm all, what? Boom. And it went, think.
Yes.
And
Who else done that? I've done
you
that.
just
dropped it
lost
on
the
my
guitar.
foot.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
You ever no?
That was the end of that guitar right there. It's like, boom,
Yep.
crack neck. Next.
Next.
That's how you knew you were addicted.
No, that's how I knew not to throw my guitar in my strap locks. Every guitar I have strap locks.
Strap locks. Lock it down.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to kick this one to Jason Hilton first, only because we all know the answer, or at least I think we do. But Amanda Brown wants to know, who are your biggest musical influences?
All right. Well, as Shawn mentioned, and as I mentioned, Nirvana, obviously, but big into Foo Fighters, just because they're all very,
Just say Dave Grohl.
well,
Yeah.
definitely Dave Grohl as the leader and as the drummer of Nirvana, but individually, they're all very good musicians, and they're all very much into their own thing, and musically, they're all very different from each other as their personalities. Each member of the band is very different. And I think that fits well with what we do here. We're all very different people, but the Foo Fighters sound like the Foo Fighters because of who's in it. And just like when we switch group members up here, things tend to sound a little different because there's different people here, but it's good because you're just putting a little bit of different chemistry into the mix.
I feel like you practiced before you
That was
came.
very
Wow.
That like,
Beat that, guys.
Cool.
Beat that.
Should we just
I
close it
almost
down?
feel like, do we
I
mic
just-
drop at this point on that
These
question?
are expensive. I'm not dropping it.
Anyone else? Biggest musical influences?
Dolly Parton.
Shut up. Why
She's
are you
great.
here?
Because he's working 9 to 5.
I don't know. I'd say like the music that I listened to a lot that formed a lot of like the songs that I played when I was learning were like Death Cab for Cutie was like a big, I think, influence on a lot of the music.
I knew that one.
Yeah, Death Cab and similar influences. I'm trying to think like some indie bands that we had in the area too. I really liked, and the style was slightly different, but no one that you would necessarily know of.
Briartone.
Briartone,
Yeah.
yeah, Briartone, Bless,
Really?
Sherwood, yeah. If Adam Passion's watching, you know.
Maybe Brittany, but not Adam.
Yeah, maybe.
So Jason kind of already did this segue for me, but I'm going to do it anyways. So going from these musical influences and what you enjoy playing and what drew you to music, why would you decide to play for the Element Band? Oh, let's go, Michelle. I haven't heard from you in a little bit.
Ooh. Well, so I started out playing guitar, electric guitar primarily, for Element and the church that we were previously a part of too. It's so powerful, I think, to be able to take the realm of art and extend that and see how the gospel intersects with it, and to realize that God is creator and he also made us to create. And there's something so beautiful about that. I think you can have really powerful artistic experiences, outside the church or with people that are non-believers, but there's something really sweet and special when you are doing it with the family of God. And I think also when the focus is not so much on performance. I mean, there's that aspect of it, obviously, like we're on stage in front of people, but to make the focus in glorifying God, it just elevates all of it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I really like what you just said, because I one of the things about being in a band like this versus other bands is that it's not about you. It's like everything you do, you think, how do I add to the whole, not how do I stand out? I mean, we'll do guitar solos and keyboard things and all that, but it's not look at me. It's we're having fun together, we're enjoying this together, and nothing is meant to be look at me. And that's what I think is cool about this is, you know, it's not meant to be flamboyant. You know, no one's wearing spandex and whoa, you know,
That we know of.
that we know of.
Sean, you're going to need to change your outfit for Sunday.
Sorry. It goes all my plans for the whole month.
Yeah, that's right. Have you ever seen Shawn in his workout clothes?
In for a treat.
Yeah.
You're
It's like-
for a treat.
It's like purple and turquoise and totally
Heck
80s.
yeah.
It is.
It's a little different than
A little different than this. And a headband.
I had to change to come here. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it. Sean?
Yeah, I was thinking something similar. Something that got me into it was realizing actually seeing some artists and seeing the kind of some of the power that is in music, and knowing that we could orient that such that God's name would be praised is something that's really exciting. Just to kind of piggyback of what Aaron was saying was like that creation of an experience, right? And not being about singling any individual on the stage out, but there being something that we can create together that can be a medium or something that people can use to experience and grow closer to God, and just have the words of the song with the melody drop and hit you. Like I think many of us have had those moments. There's a couple songs for me that those moments hit, and you're just like, oh man.
Actually, you were doing just one a couple of weeks ago, and you go, every time I get to this part of this song, I want to cry.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every part, and even when performing, I'm like, okay, I can't cry when we're performing it because then I'll be,
But you
can't do that stuff.
But now I'm listening for it when you do that song. I'm all,
oh, there it is. It's the fourth verse. Here it comes. But yeah, to be able to create that and to let other people experience it and help it. Hopefully, it moves them to a new depth or a new place, and it's very exciting, and that's definitely the focus, and it's fun.
I love it.
Well said.
Jason?
I know for me, I felt I was at my old church, the church I went to before here, again, when I was about 20, and there was just kind of a need, like somebody just kind of needed to step up and start doing music. So I decided I started out playing bass for like a year, and then I decided I'd pick up a guitar, and I bought like $100 guitar off eBay, and then decided, okay, I'm into it. So then I got like a big fat tax return and dumped all that money into a guitar, and which is what you do when you're 20. And
Well, not what I did when I was 20, but word for you.
That's what I did when I was 20. But I just felt like the more I got into it, the more God wanted me to do it. And when you feel called to do a certain type of ministry, it just sits right for you, and God blesses that part of your life.
Oh, thank you. And Mark, why have you been playing for the band every Christmas Eve for the last
We
decade?
asked him to.
Because nobody else plays keyboard. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Sarah's amazing. I meant from before. There was a time when I was the only one.
Yes.
Sorry, that came out horrible.
Backpedal.
It's really I can't say it better than them. I think the only thing that I could think of that I would add to it is just that I love music so much, and I love talking about it with people so much, and I love that sort of excitement that you can build when somebody's passionate about something and they're sharing their passion and their interest with something. Like if I'm talking about music with somebody and I'm able to communicate something that they hadn't thought of, and they get excited about that because I'm excited about it. I think it's that sort of dynamic where if I'm on a worship team and I'm trying to bring something special, something artistic, something beautiful that can communicate to the congregation, I feel like I love that. I feel like it's very powerful for me personally when I go and see some amazing worship team or something like that. The way that moves me is something so special, and I want to create moments like that. I want to be a part of this like beautiful musical excellence that we can create and lift up to God.
That's beautiful. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but one of my earliest Element band memories was getting in the car and looking at Brandon and going, I have never seen someone rock out on the keyboard until Mark Pruitt. I mean, I'm like, was he headbanging at one point? Like, I'm not even sure how you know where to put
that
your
was always the thing.
hands.
People would always comment about when Mark would play. They'd always be like, man, that guy looks like he really enjoys playing.
Yes. Yes.
I do.
That like stands in my mind from like my very, very beginnings.
Oh,
awesome. Okay, switching it up a little bit. How about Michelle? What is something about you that people would be surprised to know?
Oh man, that's hard.
I know. That's why I chose you.
Guys, help me out. What was surprising? I'm drawing a blank here.
That you could play the guitar while you had 2 extra humans growing inside of you.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that
Way
was
to go.
surprising. Okay, yes. So
It's like it just kept getting higher and higher.
Higher and to the
playing,
side.
like lap steel, but like on a table over here. It was
Belly still.
yes. So I have twin boys, and I played up until I think I was 8 months.
I was gonna say 8 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Playing guitar with like an extra 40 pounds all right here is hard. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Do any of you have a favorite memory of playing at Element?
Every week.
So sincere.
I can't remember every week.
No, so actually it is. Well, I mean, it's not a favorite memory. It is okay. So with the whole COVID thing, there's so much stuff that goes on that I always feel a little overwhelmed every week, and I'm just like, oh, it's just so much. And then when we get here and the whole band shows up and we start playing, it all falls into place, and it just it feels right. Like, you know, people say this a lot when they watch things live in a room. It's like, wow, you know, I felt like God was doing it, but sometimes they don't hear necessarily that same thing on the live stream. It's because the room's alive and people are here, and it just kind of brings everything together. It's a whole different feeling. And this is why I'm very excited for one day when Element can actually meet together again. And it's not just live streams. I know people love sitting on their couch in their PJs watching. They think, oh, this is great, but it is not the same. It is, and I almost feel like every week, you know, I step in and something happens on a Sunday that reminds me of God's goodness and His grace and the gospel and how the Spirit moves. So, oh, wait, I'm gonna drop that.
Yeah, I don't know. Top that, anyone? Any other favorite memories?
My favorite memories have been Christmas Eve services. Like I remember there's like 3 distinct ones that for me, they were just whether it was the amount of effort and time put into it to deliver, and we had.
Are these ones you were a part of
services.
because you put all that effort into it too?
Yeah, well, the first one was the first one that we ever did was a big deal for me. I don't think I had ever done anything at that caliber before, and it was a big deal. I remember like we were pulling like violinists in, and I remember I had a buddy who worked at the guitar store who was going to play dobro for us, and like I remember just like trying to pull it all together, and just the feedback was really great. You know, a lot of people said they really loved it, and like that was really cool. And then there was another year where we did like a bunch of Future Forestry songs, and that was like just like really epic for me. Like the music style and just how we had to mold and kind of like fit it was tough, and also just as rewarding. Like it felt right. The reception was also really good. And then I think the last one was one we did here where we did the drums. The drummer book. Because I remember being like, this is ridiculous. No one's going to like this. It's just a big showy thing. Good. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, the drums. It was so the coolest thing. And everyone loved it. And I remember just being like, all right, well, I had the wrong idea about that one. Okay, I'll have to do that again, I guess.
I loved when you played for the last CTV.
Oh, CTV. Those are good too.
Watching all the kids jump around and jam out and just big Shawn Jones hair everywhere because he was getting into it. That was
I saw the pointy guitar for that one, or is that the... I remember for the last one, no, I didn't have the pointy guitar anymore. No. One year I had a big pointy guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, fancy.
You conned me into buying one of those, remember?
I did,
You're
yeah.
like, oh, God, I think we both sold them at the same time.
Yeah. They're fun for a while.
They're fun for a week.
That's great.
That Future of Forestry year was definitely my favorite. I spent so ever since when I was fresh out of high school, and I was talking to Aaron, and I was telling him about how excited I was about, I just found out about electronic music. And there's this software that David Crowder Band is peddling, and it sounds really cool. And I'm really interested in it. And Aaron's like, oh, I've owned it for years. Nobody can figure it out. And I'm like, oh,
I
really?
don't
He's like,
read
yeah, you can just have it.
instructions.
So
I don't read instructions.
he gives me this CD, and I take it home, and I spend maybe the next 2 years always trying to shoehorn it in wherever I could. And in the beginning, there was so much resistance to it that nobody wanted to play to a click track. You have to play to a metronome if you play with these extra electronic tracks, and nobody wanted to do it.
Which every Christmas Eve right now, like for years, people know that every single song has a click. We are playing to a click. So
and I used to fight and fight and fight. I'm like, guys, this is the future. We gotta go here. We gotta do this. And everybody was like, this is dumb. We hate this. And I think
that we hated it. We just couldn't stay on a click.
Yeah. we weren't good at it.
Two different things.
We weren't good at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the first year that I wrote a sequence for every single song that we did, and it was a tremendous amount of work, and the end result was some of music that was, I don't know how to phrase it, but I was the most proud of that, of probably any musical project I had done to date. And it was so much fun. We had probably 10 people on stage. We had 3 electric guitars. We had acoustic, 3 electrics. We had all of these Reason tracks, extra keys, drums, like the whole thing. And it was so amazing watching all of that come together. And it was such a different level of, or I shouldn't say a different level of artistry, but it was a completely out of the band's normal comfort zone, and just a totally different thing. And that sort of, I felt like, set the bar for years to come, where every year Aaron has sort of reinvented Christmas Eve into, all right, the next year was like this like polar opposite, like let's get all these weird broken instruments from the thrift store and see what happens if we bang on this piano that is out of tune, but somehow make it work.
It was, and we had, and that's the first year we used the harmonium after that too.
And harmonium was like a really cool thing back then too. That was on all the Future of Forestry songs, and
Element
and yeah,
ahead
sort
of
of
its time.
getting all these different things in there was just, it was exciting. So yeah,
no one will ever
always
hear because we're not allowed to record the music and put it online.
And Churchella too.
The what?
Churchella.
Remember Churchella?
Churchella.
Oh, that was.
I was wondering if anyone would bring that up.
Church in the
Church
Tent?
in the Dirt.
That was really.
I like how everyone has a different name for it. Church in the Tent, Church in the Dirt, Churchella.
Michelle coins
I like
Churchella.
I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, you guys. I have a really controversial question.
Ooh.
It's coming from one of the bassists, the more conspiracy-driven bassist. Any guesses? Any guesses?
I know.
So what does Jason
Oh,
Casaro
let me
have to
check
ask?
Instagram.
So what does Jason Casaro have to ask? Which of you is the best guitar player?
Ooh, I would say Shawn Jones.
I think so too.
The number 17.
I'm sorry, what?
He knows what I mean.
Oh my God.
Number.
Equally as hard hitting. This one, actually, Shawn Jones. You might be familiar with the asker of this. Kara Jones.
Do you know her? Ring a
Have
bell?
you?
Yeah. Yes,
oh,
yeah,
have
yeah.
you met? Okay.
Yeah.
Which of you is the biggest diva, and why is it Aaron?
Easy A
It's a
over
classic Kara Jones drop right there. Yeah.
I don't think I'm the diva. I think I'm the most anal. Well, Mark's pretty close. But because I always have an idea of how things are supposed to go. Like a lot of the songs we do, they'll typically have like, the stuff that people do will have.
I said, and there you have it.
Yes.
I've got this idea of how things are supposed to go.
But you don't need to feed me a Snickers, right? To get me to calm back down again.
We tried Snickers. It doesn't work.
We try.
No, there are other people on this stage that every time I'm saying, "Hey, do this song," they're like, "I don't want to do that song."
Well, pick
I'm
better
Talking
songs.
about me.
Stop talking about
I think
me.
we've all done that, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, okay, there's 3 other people on this stage that do this to me when I say stuff.
Not
I'm
only
not
is
the
he
diva.
a diva, but he's a bus driver, apparently.
I am a bus driver.
A backseat bus driver.
Well, you guys, I appreciate you sitting down and letting the people of Element, the people who are watching this, kind of hear your hearts, hear why you choose to play. I know I'm very thankful for you. Britney Spears appreciating and all. I very much appreciate each of you and the talent you have and the way that you have a skill to help us enter in. We know and we're taught that worship is not the music. Worship is our hearts reaching out to God, and you have.
I do. I just
What'd you
before you sign off, I want to say something. That's really nice. I just everybody on this stage.
Who's the diva?
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
Everybody
Just
on
got
this
Kanye.
stage. How they've actually come to do music is every single one approached me at some point and said, God has been leading me. How do you need to use me? And it's been crazy because it's always come at a time when things have kind of fallen apart. And it's like, what are we going to do next week? What am I going to do in a month? What am I going to do? And it's like God has led every single person on this stage to the right place at the right time to be involved. And so I'm just thankful for God for all you guys.
Oh,
Oh, now I can say something, huh?
Oh,
Well, yeah.
Redeemed. Oh.
All right, guys. So that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to the next interview. See you later.
We'll have to work Toxic into a song.
Can I wear the ear mic? I don't even have to be on the stage. I can be down there and